In the heart of Antarctica, on a vast expanse of white that met a sky of deepest indigo, lived a young emperor penguin named Piko. While the other penguins in his colony were content with the practicalities of life, the huddle for warmth, the hunt for silverfish, the raising of fluffy chicks, Piko's gaze was forever turned upward. He was a dreamer, a watcher of the night sky, and his heart belonged to what he called the sky ribbons. To the others, the Aurora Australis was just a shifting, silent light, a beautiful but unremarkable part of their long winter. But Piko saw more. He saw silken banners of emerald, violet, and rose unfurling across the heavens, and he noticed something no one else did. The ribbons danced to a music no one else could hear. It was a deep, melodic hum that seemed to pulse up from the icy waters, a slow, powerful heartbeat that gave the lights their rhythm and grace. Piko would stand for hours at the edge of the ice shelf, his head tilted, listening to the ocean's song and watching its visual echo in the sky. But then, a quiet sadness began to settle over the world. For several nights, the sky ribbons grew weak. They became pale ghosts of themselves, limp and disorganized, like a painter's first hesitant strokes. Correspondingly, the deep ocean song had faded. What was once a majestic anthem was now a faint, sorrowful sigh that was barely audible above the whisper of the wind. The sky's magic was dimming, and only Piko seemed to feel the loss. One frigid afternoon, while diving for a meal near the edge of the great ice shelf, Piko's sharp eyes caught a glimmer on the seabed far below. It was not the flash of a fish, but a soft, steady glow. Curiosity pulling him like a current, he dove deeper. There, nestled amongst the dark stones, was a small, smooth pebble. It was not a normal stone. It pulsed with a soft inner light, and as Piko nudged it with his beak, he felt a faint vibration. It was humming the same sad, quiet melody he heard from the deep. The stone was a fallen tear from the ocean's song. In that moment, Piko knew, with a certainty that warmed him from his beak to his feet, that he had to find the singer. Clutching the humming stone carefully, Piko took a deep breath that filled his lungs with purpose. He swam to the edge of the ice shelf and then, without a second thought, he dove down. He swam past the familiar hunting grounds, past the curious seals and the ghostly shapes of drifting squid, into a place of crushing pressure and eternal dark, where no penguin had ever dared to go. The humming stone in his beak was his tiny, glowing compass, and its sad song was a thread pulling him ever deeper into the heart of the ocean. He swam until his flippers ached, following the sound into the immense blue black. He was about to give up when he saw it, a faint, pulsing aquamarine light emanating from a massive fissure in the underside of a colossal glacier. It was an entrance to a hidden world. Taking his courage in both flippers, he swam inside. The cavern was breathtaking. It was a vast, cathedral-like grotto, lit from within by the soft, rhythmic glow. And there, floating in the center of the immense space, was the source of the song and the light. It was a creature of myth and legend, an Aurora Whale. It was so immense, it seemed to be the cave itself, its body almost translucent, as if woven from starlight and ancient ice. A galaxy of gentle light swirled within its form. But for all its magnificence, the creature, whose name was Lumina, was steeped in sorrow. Its eyes, vast and dark as the deep sea, were clouded with sadness, and its song was a broken, wavering whisper that barely stirred the water. Lumina saw the tiny penguin floating before it, a speck of black and white in its luminous domain. A low, resonant rumble echoed through the cave, not of anger, but of surprise. As Piko held out the glowing stone, Lumina understood. The great whale did not speak in words, but in feelings, in melodic rumbles, and in shimmering images it projected into the water between them. An image formed. Lumina, joyful and powerful, swimming through a forest of giant underwater ice crystals that hung from the cavern ceiling. The whale gently tapped them with its colossal head, and each crystal released a note, a pure, resonant tone that shot upwards through the ice and into the sky to paint the heavens with color. This was its instrument. Then the image shifted. It showed one of the crystals, the most slender and brilliant of them all, snapping under a gentle tap. The image showed the crystal, the source of the highest, most vibrant note, falling into a deep, narrow crevice in the cavern floor. The final image was of Lumina, its immense body far too large, trying and failing to reach the lost piece of its song. The artist had lost its voice because its instrument was broken. Piko looked at the sorrowful giant, then at the narrow crevice. He saw the problem, and in the same instant, he saw the solution. His own small size, usually just a fact of life, was now a key. He gave a determined chirp and swam towards the dark fissure. Lumina watched, its giant eye filled with a dawning hope, as the little penguin disappeared into the crevice where it could not follow. The darkness inside was absolute, and the lost crystal was wedged deep within. Piko couldn't pull it, but he could push. Bracing his feet against the rock, he used his shoulders, his flippers, and his beak, nudging and pushing the heavy crystal with all his might. It was slow, exhausting work, but the thought of the sad, silent whale and the pale, lonely sky gave him strength. With a final, mighty shove, the ice crystal slid free, tumbling gently onto the cavern floor. Piko swam out, tired but triumphant. Lumina let out a low, grateful hum and gently nudged the lost note with its snout. With delicate precision, it guided the crystal back to the jagged stump on the ceiling. There was a soft click, a flash of pure white light, and the instrument was whole again. Lumina floated back, took a deep breath that seemed to draw in all the water in the cave, and then it sang. It was not the sorrowful whisper from before, but a note of pure, resonant joy that soared from the restored crystal. Another note followed, then another, until a powerful, complex, and joyful symphony filled the grotto. The very water seemed to vibrate with happiness. On the surface, the entire penguin colony, huddled together under the dim stars, gasped as one. The sky didn't just light up, it erupted. Rivers of sapphire and gold chased curtains of magenta and emerald. The colors swirled and danced with a vigor and brilliance none of them had ever witnessed. A symphony of light so magnificent, it brought a hushed awe to the entire frozen continent. Deep below, Piko floated in the warm, colorful glow of Lumina's song, a secret friend to the silent artist of the sky. He was no longer just a small, curious penguin. He was the keeper of the sky's song, the little creature who had bravely dived into the dark to help the world find its most beautiful voice again. And as he swam back towards the familiar glow of the ice shelf, he carried a warmth in his heart that had nothing to do with the cold, a secret melody that was now his to share with the silent, sleeping world.